Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelley Kraft, and we're going to do a Wall Street view with Mr. Chris Lahiji. We're at the Singular Research Best of the Uncovereds 9th Annual Conference at the Lux Hotel, Bel Air, California. Chris, welcome back to SNN and to do a Wall Street view.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really nice to be here.
It's good to have you. What do you think is going on in the market? I'm asking you this question for two reasons. I have an opinion, and other people have an opinion, and you have an opinion. What's going on in microcaps?
It's been an interesting year, and by interesting I mean not that great. So there's a lot of companies over the last few years that have had pretty big runs up, and there's a lot of companies that have kind of not participated at all. And I don't want to say it's fatigue, but I just feel like people aren't getting the deals that they feel like they deserve. So as I can only
is that a pricing mechanism?
Yeah. I can only speak for myself, and everyone's ultimately entitled to their opinion. But my take is that I am just not finding great companies at great valuations. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of fantastic, phenomenal companies out there that are profitable. It's just that I'm paying a lot more in terms of valuation to own them. So for me, I can ultimately make that decision and say, you know what, this is a good story, but I'm going to be patient and see if I can get it for a little bit cheaper. So that waiting, that I'm going to let it come to me, has probably caused some contraction in the microcap world. And I've been seeing it with more and more companies, and it's almost like a refresh. It's almost like, look, let's see what this thing is actually worth. Let's see where the inflection point is, and then we'll see where the buyers and sellers are.
My question back to you is that the result of the fact that there's a scramble by investment bankers to pay up against each other to get a deal because they need product? Or is it that certain sectors are more popular than others, and as their popularity rises, there's more interest, more demand?
Well, bankers, with bankers, I think every day is a holiday. So you can never have enough money. You can never buy enough companies. You can never, do enough to improve your share price. I just think that the big problem that microcap has right now, the biggest problem of all, is we don't have any fresh names coming into the market, either through reverse, through S1. You don't have any of that. So what's happening is people are basically going back through all the old names and seeing if they can find things that make sense. We found some, but obviously not as much as we want to. And we've been kind of building our cash position because there's less and less things that we find attractive at this point. You also got to realize that for the last few years, the markets have been going up. So I'm not saying that they can't continue moving higher. I've been dead wrong for 4 years in terms of my, overall direction. But I'm just saying that for them, I think people are tenuous at best. And what's happening with us is when I like a story, I'm not going out and buying my actual position. I'm only buying 20% of it or 25% of it. So if it scales back, I don't feel like crap, and maybe I can buy some more.
So have ATMs had an influence on this?
ATMs. Look, I mean, my take on ATMs is if a company has liquidity and there's someone backing it, they should do it. Because from my understanding, the commission dollars on an ATM are significantly lower than doing a private or anything like that. So, I mean, I have no objection to that. It's just that in the microcap world, I'm just not seeing a lot of it because there's not a lot of companies that have that liquidity where it can be very easy to deploy an ATM.
So let me tell you what the departure and the separation of information is for me. I'm going to a lot of conferences, the company, where we're seeing a lot of startups and a lot of ramp-ups that, some of them have some revenue. Yes, a lot of them are pre-revenue. But I see that there are companies that are trying to get into.
Yeah, but they're still not coming. I mean, I don't know if I can name you 10 new companies that have come out this year.
Besides Alibaba?
Alibaba at 240 billion market cap, that's not microcap. So no, it's the bigger companies are going. Mid caps and small caps have a nice, healthy mix. It's just a microcap. And what's happening is private companies are realizing that the benefit of going public is not there. It costs way too much damn money to ultimately operate a public company. There's a lot of red tape. And why go public when your valuation as a private, mystery company is worth a hell of a lot more? So these guys are just basically making companies to sell to larger players. So you really have to give people an incentive to go public. The government has to, in this case, reduce red tape. they have to get, hopefully they would get some type of tax incentive, which is probably never going to happen because MicroCap World doesn't have a lobbying arm. You know, there's not enough meat on the bone for them to say, okay, we should go public. And until that changes, you and I are going to be stuck in this abyss. And no
We'll
one
always have each other to talk to.
yeah, I mean, that's good, but, you know, we're still in the shitter. So, you know, there has to be fundamental changes. Now, crowd investing and all these things, I like where we're going with this, but it'll be interesting to see what the SEC says. It'll be interesting to see how they identify a institutional investor, what is that called? Accredited investor? It'll be very interesting to see how they change this language. But this is a good start. Jobs Act is a good start. We're making progress.
Chris, in a conference last week, I interviewed an attorney who is telling me about how they're increasing what value there is to an accredited investor because they're changing the rules again.
You know, I'll believe it when I see it. So I'm telling you, what we need are unique retail, unique products, unique services. We need these companies to come public. We need these companies to come public when they're closer to cash flow break even and not, we're burning $2 million a month. Can you help us with a $10 million raise? We need successes. We haven't had it. Hansen's Natural for many, many years. This is a Carlsbad company right over here. It was a 30, 40 million market cap. I mean, my homie over here and I, we used to drink their Hansen's Natural soda, even though there's no way that soda can be natural. Company's $12 billion today. That's a huge success. We need more Hansens. We need more True Religions. We're just not getting it. And I don't blame any of these private guys for not going public. You know, it's not worth the risk. You know, it has to be worth the risk to ultimately get paid. So there has to be some leniency, you know, we'll kind of, you know, we'll ease on the rules a little bit so these guys can go public and they can make people money. Because that's what the bottom line is. If guys aren't coming to conferences, if they're not making money on these names. And I think it's absolutely paramount in the next few years to get new ideas, because I almost think that over time there's going to be less and less companies to choose from.
Speaking of conferences, I heard there's one called LD Micro.
Yes.
You want to tell me a little bit about LD Micro
Yeah.
and when it's coming?
The principal of the organization is an absolute dirtbag. I could confirm it. He's very ugly. He's overweight, and he's fond of Taco Bell. But outside of that, we'll do something. We'll do the 7th event, December 2, 3, and 4. We'll do 234 companies over 3 days. It will be a smaller event than last year because it was kind of a shit show. And, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic that people are going to have a great time. If I could just have weather like this for 3 days. See, that's the only thing, man. This is perfect. For everyone who's watching, you know, I hope to God that you're not like in Siberia or somewhere humid or anything like that. You know, sometimes it's worth paying an egregious sum of money to own your house.
Let's get a website, will you?
ldmicro.com. Hal, please update the site. ldmicro.com.
Is that the way you speak to your webmaster?
I'm hoping that he sees this because he's not returning to my tag. So maybe I'll send this like, Hal, you should look at my interview. And then it's like, Hal, please update the site. Thank you.
Got it, Hal?
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Lahiji, LD Micro. Always a pleasure to have you on. This is a Wall Street View. We're at the Singular Research Best of the Uncovered 9th Annual Conference right here in Bel Air, California. Again, Chris, thanks for your opinions.
Oh, God. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.